holidays. I love to do some baking, don't you? Today I'm making a recipe that makes a nice big batch of orange cranberry loaves. The recipe makes 12 small ones or 2 large ones or a combination. I have 3½ cups of flour in here. I added a tablespoon of baking powder and a teaspoon of fine salt. Whisk those ingredients together. That's your dry. And then grate 2 tablespoons of orange zest. I'm just gonna go with grating the zest of 1 large orange, and you need a ½ cup of fresh orange juice as well. I like my recipes at the holidays to make nice big batches, that way I have some on hand for myself to serve to friends and family when they're around, but I can also give them as gifts. These are great holiday gifts. Looks good. So beat together 2 sticks of room temperature butter and 2 cups of sugar. Regular granulated sugar. If your butter's nice and room temperature, it won't take too long to get nice and creamy. When the butter and sugar is nice and fluffy, add your orange zest. And then 4 eggs, 1 at a time. I have my eggs already cracked into a measuring cup, and they'll just drop out 1 at a time. It's like magic. See? You don't need to worry. And this is a great way of making sure there's no eggshell in there, etc., etc. Beat to combine after you add each egg, and you might want to scrape down the sides of the bowl once or twice while you're doing this. Stop the machine while you do that. You don't want your hand getting caught in there. But you just want to make sure that everything's fully combined. You don't want butter sitting at the bottom of the mixer. And this recipe makes a lot, so you want to be careful. Last egg. Add the flour mixture, alternating with your milk and orange juice. I like to do it in 3 additions. And turn your machine off before you add the flour, because it will fly everywhere. And it's not a pretty sight. Low speed. See? It just happened. You can add your liquids while the machine is running. Milk. You can mix the milk and orange juice together or not. Add the rest of the milk and then a ½ cup of orange juice. And then the remaining flour. I'm always tempted to pick up the bowl and pour it in, but I always get flour on the edge of the mixer. So I'm trying not to do it, even though my instinct says, do it. In this instance, don't trust your body. It doesn't know what it's talking about. If you have one of those spoon-shaped spatulas, now's the time to use it. Great for picking up flour. Final installment. When your batter's fully combined, add 1½ cups of chopped dried cranberries. Beat to combine, and you're ready to go. I have 2 sizes of loaf pans here, mini loaf pans and a standard size, 8½ by 4½. Scrape up anything from the bottom, make sure it's really nicely mixed, and then I like to scoop using an ice cream scoop. If you have one, use it. It's just easier to transfer the batter. The pan should be about 1/2 or 2/3 full for baking, because they rise. These pans are already buttered and floured, so butter them really nicely and then flour them. They're not the non-stick. The baking time would be different in non-stick because it's darker, so if you are using non-stick, you might want to check a little bit early. Have your oven preheating to 350 degrees and bake your cakes until the tops spring back when lightly touched and a cake tester inserted in the center comes out clean. It'll be about 45 to 50 minutes for the small and about 50 to 60 minutes for the large. Let your cakes cool in the pans for a few minutes and then turn them out onto wire racks to cool, and then make a glaze with confectioner's sugar and orange juice. I have about 2 cups of confectioner's sugar here and about 2 tablespoons of juice, but I'm just gonna whisk it in slowly to see how much I need. Sometimes you need a little more, sometimes a little less, depending on how you pack your confectioner's sugar into the measuring cups. And also if it's sifted. You know, it doesn't seem like it, but it's a fine line between too little and too much liquid in a glaze like this. This is a really thick glaze, and it's gonna set on top of your cakes. I have one cake that I already glazed. I'm just gonna spoon this on top of the small cakes. Spread it out a little bit. Oops. These need to sit for at least an hour to dry, and then you can pack them up and give them as gifts. If you want to make them ahead of time, I would suggest making the cakes and then freezing them for up to 3 weeks well wrapped and glazing them when they've defrosted. My wire rack is set in a baking sheet, and that's going to catch any excess glaze. And this makes enough for 12 small cakes or 2 large. Very beautiful. Let them set. I have this one that was already set, so I'm going to try it. I'm going to give this a try because I just can't wait. That's why I made a lot of them. I probably should be using a serrated knife, but I couldn't go get one. I didn't want to wait. It's beautiful. Smells so orangey. Cranberry orange cake. Perfect for the holidays. Perfect for any time, really. And your friends are really going to love you if you give them one of these. Or 2. Delicious. Delightful. Hi guys, thanks for watching this video. Be sure to click here if you want to subscribe, and click over here if you want to continue watching more great videos like this.